How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video from me here at ScrubGames, and also once again another deck profile. And this time I'm going over a deck that is, well, a leader that is one of my favorites in the game, one that I enjoyed when it came out. But then over time, as with most decks, it kind of got power cracked. But I still think it's quite an interesting deck and could be potentially useful in the current meta. And is one that I want to give a try, at least for locals and just like friendly games and stuff as well. And without further ado, that one is, as the title of the video suggests, is Red Beerus, DBS Beerus. No one wants any of that blue Beerus, unless you play the format where you have no ratters and no limits, like everything that's on the limited ban and stuff list is off, and the ratters are gone. And then it's quite a busted deck in that format, but in the normal format, Red Beerus is the best Beerus. So without further ado, we're going to the leader. So with the leader, it is on its front side, it's got no auto, it's just activate main once per turn. You can choose one red or yellow card in your hand, discard it, and if you do, and then draw two cards. So you've got a bit of a nice, decent hand, like drawing with that side. Very good. And then its Waken is the aggressive version where if your life's at 4 or less, you can untap 2 energy and flip it over. So getting an extra 2 energy is really nice. Awaken, so that's when you want. So with this deck, what you want to do is you want to plan your awakening accordingly. So either like you can use it to be defensive if you want to be, but ideally you want to use it for your one of your turns to get more energy, like an extra 2 energy for that turn. Normally you can do that quite late into like turn 3 or 4. And on the front side, it's got two skills, one in activate main, one in activate battle. The activate main doesn't matter because we're never going to trigger it, but if just in case it does come up, if you do manage to trigger off, is activate main once per turn. For one red and one yellow, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards and kill it. Now it doesn't go for barrier, so it's not that handy, but if you ever, and really in this deck you're not going to charge any yellow, you might charge a multicolor, but then you're wasting an energy that way. But if it does come up, that could be useful. But the main effect that is handy on the awakened side, because the leader doesn't draw on the awakened side, is activate battle. Once per turn, you choose one red and blue multicolor, red and yellow multicolor card in your drop area and combo with it once per turn. And that's activate battle, so that's either your opponent's turn to use it defensively, or during your turn to use it offensively. And that's really handy because it means that this leader gives you free arrival fodder. Really good. And as you don't remember, there are super combos in each color combination that you can use at free. That's pretty good. And this one's got a decent one. Not the best, but it's decent. So without further ado, we'll get into the list. So we're in the Unison Warriors set, the Unison Warrior block, like Unison Warrior Boost block now. So most decks are going to have a Unison. And with red, there is one true best Unison, in my opinion, for red, and that is Piccolo Jr. Descendant of the King, which is a 2 specified cost, 15k red Unison. And because of that, we want to play Unison because get some good benefits, and this is a very strong one as well. So we're going for this one, and we're playing 4 copies of it, and it's going to be the only Unison we're going to play. So it's got a very strong auto, where if your opponent activates a counter skill, you can choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 15k power or less and kill it. And the good thing with this deck is there's you got in red skills where you minus your opponent's card's power. So one handy thing is you can reduce the power of one of your opponent's card if they do any counter play. It's not just counter play or counter attack, it's just any counter skill. You don't get to choose something that's 15k or less and kill it, which is really handy. And the main thing about this is it's activate main, which is a +1 skill, which is activate main, draw 1 card. So it gets you, because as we said, the leader on the front side doesn't. Well, on the front side it draws, but when you awaken, you have no more draw power from the leader. So having this +1 to draw a card is really handy. And is not always going to come up, but it can come up. It says activate main -2 marker skill, where you choose one of your red cards with energy cost of 3 or less. Choose all your opponent's battle cards with power less than or equal to the chosen card, and KO them. And then this card gains rejuvenate once per turn. Remove 2 markers from this card for the turn to gain a life. So that is possible because, as you know, with Unisons, you can give them a marker by putting another copy of the card under it. So that's a way you can get a card under it. So if it can come up with a rejuvenate, not going to come up too often, but that is a possibility. That's why I read it out. And then Next three cards we got are ones you ideally want to discard, like are really useful for discarding off the leader. First one being Bardock the Eliminator, which is a which we play at 3 copies, and it's got a few skills. I'm not going to go over it really. The only skill we're going over is a relevant one that we're going to be using, which is the activate main for 1 energy. You send this card from your drop area to your warp, draw 1 card. So this is really handy in this deck because you can discard the leader on its front side before you awaken to draw 2, and then you can use this effect from the drop area then to just tap an energy, draw 1. So on turn 1, when you're not really doing anything, you've charged 1 red energy, you can just go discard this, draw 2, and warp it from your drop by paying that 1 energy, draw 3. So on your turn, you've just drawn 3 cards. Well, technically, you've plus 2, you've drawn 3 cards, but you've plus 2 in your first turn, which is really handy. And the next one we have is similar. It's the Goku Ape, which is a similar to Bardock, but where it triggers in the drop, but instead you pay 2 to draw 2 cards. So you got Bardock, which is mainly going to be your turn 1 discard to then tap 1 to draw 1, and then you got Goku Ape, which is the tap 2 to draw 2. So these are handy with this because you can easily get off the drop with your leader's effect, and even in the yellow cards to combo if you don't have a easy way to combo the cards, to rival cards in. I'm only play 2 because paying 2 energy is quite costly. Well, not too costly, but good enough to draw 2 cards. But you're going to not be using this effect much, and you can always side more copies if you're against hand destruction. And then the last one we get is the one that helps us self-awaken, which is Weast Godly Fundamentals. Now this is a 1-drop 5k, and it will activate main, where if your leader card is a Beerus card, and your opponent, and you send this card from your drop area to your warp, you can choose up to 1 card in your life as your hand, so that's the awakening bit. Then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 5k power for the duration of the turn. So this is a really handy card because, like I said, with the Piccolo Junior's auto, where the card's got to be 15k to go if the opponent uses a counter skill, this is a nice way for free to 1, help you self-awaken, and 2, maybe reduce one of your opponent's cards down. If they got a card that's 20k with no barrier, you can use this minus it to 15. Then swing into the counter, and you got the units on the board. You pop that card, and it also does come in handy to help trigger another card that we're going to go over in a bit. But these are the main 3 cards you're going to be discarding off the lead to get their beneficial effects in the drop and get you those draw 2. Now, the next cards we're going to go over are the multicolor cards that we use for the deck. Like, you don't charge multicolor, but you still use these cards quite easily. And the first one is the super combo, which is Whis Celestial Moderator. So this is our dual color super combo to help you give easy arrival without using your leader's skill, because you don't only want to awaken like around about your turn 3 or 4. And this one has handy effect where if your leader card is red or yellow, which ours is, when you combo with this card from your hand, you choose it to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 10k power for the turn. So this makes it easier for you to combo out of your opponent's battle card swings if they don't have barrier, because this, in a sense, puts a 20k difference because you combo in that 10k, but you also minus your opponents by 10k. So if they say, if they're swinging your leaders on their awakened side and it's 15, and they swing in and they go for 30k swing, you just combo this with, if this is with a battle card, just combo this, you minus their card down to from 30k to 20k. And it's still, you got to still combo 10k, and this makes the 10k up to out combo with just 1 card on 30k. And then the next card we have is our rival for the deck, which is Beerus Unceasing Rage. So this is one of the newest ones. We got the newest arrival cards for red, yellow, and the arrival's in for just 1 red. That's why we don't bother charging multicolor, because we don't need any other energy as mainly red cards that we're going to play. And this is 4 cost 20k. Rival where as long as you combo red and yellow, you can have it in for 1 red, and it's got an auto. When it is played, you draw 1 card, so you're replacing itself when you play, which is excellent. Then you choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and then they get minus 10k power for the turn. So this is really handy. This is really great for when your opponent's attacking with battle cards. They're going to be in rest mode, so as long as they don't have barrier, you're going to be helping put even more distance, and maybe even killing things with Wii in combination with Whis if you're playing it by actual combo from hand. And it's got a nice helpful potential game ender effect if you charge yellow, whereas activate main for 1 red, 1 yellow, and 1 of any color. You choose all your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and you get minus 20k power for the turn. And then this card gains 5,000 power and triple strike for the turn. So you can give yourself a triple strike finisher with this card. Now we have the next card that we're gonna, the last multicolour card we can have, which as you can see, you probably guess what it is because it's got the, it's a card that's limited to 1 and has an errata, and that is Heartfelt Plea, as everybody knows. So this one is, just in case anybody that doesn't know, is a 5-drop multicolor that has Offering and Triple Strike, which means that it's going to be one of your finishers, and a great one at that. And it's got an effect where you choose, well, basically, to summarize it, when you trigger your Awaken seal and go to Awaken, you can choose one of your battle cards that is red and has 25k power or more on the card, and put it in the drop area and play this card from your hand. So that's really easy to do because you can easily get, as we'll see with more cards as we go on, you can get like more steady the battle cards up to 20k, from 20k to like 25. Swing with them, then get up to 25, then sack them off to play this. And Offering is fantastic because, just in case you don't know, each color combination has its own keyword skill. And for a red, that skill is Offering, which is when you play the card, your opponent can choose one card from life placed in the drop area. If they don't, you draw 2 cards. So it's either when you play a card with Offerings, or your opponent crits a life, or you get to draw 2 cards, which is fantastic for this archetype. But the only issue is there's not many good cards that have Offering, which is a shame because it's such a good card. But then if you had some like really easy to play cards with it, maybe a bit too strong. But it is one of the top 3 keyword skills, I would say, for the multicolour archetypes. But that is all the multicolours. So you just play 9 multicolours. All can be playable, like either comboed like it should be, like it's a super combo, played for 1 energy, or free played. So you're not really gonna get stuck with many deck cards in hand in this deck. The next one we got is part of the red package we've got, which is the 1-drop set. So the first one we got is Chainsack Bardock, which is a free cost. So just in the same as another one we come up with, is they both have the permanent where bond free. If you have bond free requiring red saying cards and or Bardock's crew cards, and for this one it gains 11k and critical, but it's a 15k critical attacker. And it has a really nice auto where when it attacks, you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 4,000 power for each red saying card and or Bardock's crew in your battle area. Which, if you've already got 3 already, that's 12k, and you can get more as well with that. And yeah, when you play 3 of this, because it doesn't gain you any cards, it's nice to have. We'll see like everyone's that gain you advantage, but this has got a nice effect, and gaining crit pressure is pretty handy. And being a 1-drop means it's very easy to play and use. Next one we've got is Bulgos, is the other one we've got for the Bardock chain. So this is, as I said, got the same permanent, but his effect is auto is because he's a cantrip, so it's just when it played, draw a card, which is nice. So it means that it replaces itself when it comes down, and yeah, just get a 15k attacker with just 1 energy is really nice. And then more of the 1-drop ones, we have Broly Crown Retribution, one of the best, red cards to help with like any meta at the moment, and help with like dealing with floodgates. And we only play 2 because you can always side any more copies, or you can up it if you want to. But I feel 2 is the right number in this deck, and it's very strong because of the fact it was effect where if you lead a card that's red, when you play this card from your hand, and your opponent has 2 or more energy open, then you can look at their hand and choose it to 1 battle card with 20k power or more, and put it in the drop area. So that's really handy to hit things like super combos, or can negate like Topo and stuff like that. And yeah, if your opponent's leaving energy open for say like Zamasu, you can just play this, either forcing the Zamasu or ripping it from the hand, which is really nice. And once again, it's a red saying, so it counts towards the Bulgos and Bardock's bond effects. Next one we have is while the leader has no inherent self-awakening, and while Whis is really good and free, it's still sometimes you want a bit more self-awakening to make sure, because you might go against decks where they don't even attack you or don't interact with you, like Hand Destruction for example. So to add more cards a few more cards that can self-awaken, we've got Staying Caliber, and this is a really handy one. I went for this one over like the Trunks one, because this is one of the cards where when it attacks, you can take a card from your life, and it becomes a 15k with a skill, and this one gains double strike. And I feel this one's a bit better than the critical one, like Trunks from set 4, because of the fact that it has double strike, which is helpful for dealing with unisons, because as you know, critical will still only do 1 damage to a unison, but double strike will at least take 2 markers off it. I only run 2 because we want too many, because it can clog, and if you get aggroed down, it's going to be great, and sometimes you don't want to pay the 1 energy to play this, and you only want to really use this to help yourself get down to 4 to awaken. And then another one to help get that bond free going is SS3 Goku One Hit Wonder. So this is a 15k free cost with an auto and activate battle. I'm not really going to. Well, I'll go over the activate battle because it can be useful. But the auto is when one of your opponent's battle card's power is reduced. If you don't have another copy of this card in play, you can play this card from your hand. So that's really easy to trigger because, as you remember, the Whis has a part of it. The Whis' activate main skill is minusing one of your opponent's battle cards by 5k. So you can easily trigger that for free to bring this out. So if you've got like a Bulgos and a Bardock on board and you need one more to get that bond free, you can always use the Whis to get that out, or even just the Bardock to trigger that by swinging, even at 4k, reduce something down by 8k, trigger this play out, and then the Bardock goes up, permanent triggers, and goes up to a 15k crit on its swing. And we only play 2 because, I went for 2. You could play a few more. I would like to play 3, but I want to keep it down to 50 to get that consistency and to see all the what you want a lot easier. Because going higher, I feel like if you want to go to 60 cards and stuff, you mainly want to do that on a deck that bursts or mills itself. And this deck, otherwise ever deck, you want to stick it so as close to 50 as possible to increase your consistency. Because you can feel like put a deck up from 50 to 60 by adding more teched out options, but that doesn't increase the consistency. Like while you put in more good cards, it's still making it less consistent. And then for some red, so basically just generic good red tech, we've got 2 of the SSB Kaioken Goku Concentrated Destruction. So this is a really handy card to help get through things like barriers. So as you know, in this current meta, we have Bojack being a very strong card in one of the best decks to format, being blue-yellow. And having barrier means it's hard to interact with it. So we've got 2 of these in the deck so we can help get rid of it before we swing so it don't trigger Aegis. So it's a free cost 15k with Deflect, and first auto which goes quite nicely with the Unison. So so with the first auto, is if your opponent has a wide board, you can clear it by using the auto where when you play this card from your hand, choose all your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less NKO. So you can get a nice bit of board removal. And then its activate main is how we deal with Bojack, by paying 2 red. If your leader card is red and you discard this fire from your hand, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and it gets minus 25k for the turn. So just use the activate main, pay 2 energy, minus the Bojack down to 0, game mechanics kill it, and that's along the board to worry about. And we'll play 2 because you can always side more if you need be. And then best of 1, 2 I feel is a great number to have in best of 1. Then we've got Topo. Like I just said, so we only play 2 of this because at the moment we're in a mid-range format, so there's not much aggro, but this is a nice card to have because it's a great floodgate to help, because sometimes it stops the entire turn. Your opponent doesn't want to discard 2 cards every time it attacks, because it's a 20k, 2 cost in your opponent's turn, 4 cost in your turn, but you never play it in your turn because you use its counter attack where you pay 2 to negate, and then you choose whatever card in your hand to negate the attack play itself, and then once it plays itself, it triggers its auto where if it's your opponent's turn, when this card is played, for the duration of the turn, if your opponent wants to attack, they have to discard 2 cards in order to do that each time. So we play these 2 because there's never red cards. At the very least, all these cards could be discarded off your lead, draw 2, if need be. And yeah, it's just a handy card to help with if it goes against some aggression. And then since we've got a Unison, I decided to put in some Yamcha because I know we're getting the We are getting a new one, the Vidal, but I feel like the edges it over because of the fact it's a 15k. For that, just that fact, it's 15k. Even though the Vidal's effect is a lot stronger. So you play 2 because sometimes, well, in this meta, with the Zamasu being one of the best cards, well, probably the best card in the format, is not. Sometimes you might not even be able to get Unison down, which, if that's the case, this is a dead card. But when you can get Unison down, this becomes a very helpful one to help deal with some cards that play by skills because of its counterplay, where you can't activate the counterplay skills of this card for the turn. You choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 15k power for the turn. And as a permanent, where if you've got a red Unison with 2 or more markers on the board, you can use that counterplay skill for free. But the only thing you got to think of, remember here, is that it's all in the counterplay. So if there's 2 windows when playing a card, if you hard cast a card, like play it normally from your hand by paying the energy written on the card, you just get 1 counter window. And at that point, if you can't play at that window, it can't target the card that's being played because it's not being played yet, and the counterplay triggers and resolves before the card is played. But if you're playing by skill, there's 2 counter windows. There's one before the card gets played and one after the card gets played. And the second counter window, when after the card's been played, is when this card's best, because then you can choose the card's been played because now it's already on the board. And then the last red card we got, this red battle card anyway, we got is a copy of Forever Indestruction Chamber. This is just a handy card for if you're going big on a swing, like say with the lead or anything like that. Just tapping one to combo this and give you that swing double strike is a nice way, as we've seen since the games, since the start of the game, to finish off your opponent sometimes. So you have that 1 copy, and as I said, all cards in this deck can always be, well, apart from one we're going to see, can always be discarded for your leader if need be, for that draw 2 on the front side. Then we have an Overrealm, so it's not surprising we've got probably the best aggro Overrealm, or probably the best Overrealm, in the game outside of Fu Shrouded, and that is SS4 Bardock fighting against Fate. So this is really handy because it's that sweet spot for easy enough to get 6 cards in drop using your leader's effect and just comboing as well. To then get the 6 and drop for 0 round 6, and it's just a dual attack 25k. So for free, getting 2 25k swings, it's amazing. And 25k is great because your opponent's always gonna lose that, like either over combo or lose a card when trying to out combo these attacks, because 25k means a super combo plus another 5k, which, unless it draws, means they're losing a card. And if they want to use 2 super combos so they don't use any cards in hand, there's then wasted 2 super combos on 1 attack. And it's half the super combos gone. And we play 2 because we want to try and see it, and if it goes long enough, you can probably drop 2. But I mean, it's just more so you can actually see 1 at least during your games. Then for extra cards, we got 4 Cab's Awakening, because it's just a really handy extra card for free to just give give you a good defensive boost, because it's like a pseudo 10k on defense, because you could out combo a 5k and go just a bit over. Like if say your opponent combos up to whatever your battle card or leader card power is, but plus 5k instead of 5k over, this can straight away out combo that because it's just 6k. And because it's to any red card, you can still use it on attacks with your Unison as well. And because it's an extra card that gives the card the power for the battle, it helps make it a lot easier to pull off Heartfelt, because say if you negate it in your opponent's turn with the Topo, and then in your turn you attack with the Topo, you can attack with the Topo, put in that 20k attack, which either gets out comboed or does the damage. Then you can attack with something else. Use Cab's Awakening to get the Topo, even though it's not in combat, that extra 6k, put the 26, and now it fills the condition for the Heartfelt play if you awaken that way. And another target, so you got 2 targets, being the Beerus Unceasing Rage and the Topo to use with this to make them 25k to play the Heartfelt for free. So very easy to pull it off. And then the last extra card we got is 2 copies of Freezer's Death Ball, because as you can see, mostly all the cards in this deck are red. The ones that aren't red are always going to be played or discarded from lead, like the 2 apes You're never going to charge them. You can always either combo them off or ditch them on your leader's front side effect. And the overwhelm is always going to be played. So you're always going to be charging red. You can charge multicolor if you want to, but if you do, it's still going to be red. The card is still going to be a red card, and so you're always going to have this live. And this is a really handy card, especially in conjunction with the Very Destructing Champer, because it puts a 25k difference between your opponent's attacking the card as long as it doesn't have a barrier, and your card, which is really nice for just 1 energy. 25k difference is great. But the one thing you got to remember is this can't interact with Unison. So if you swing your Unison, you can't use this to give 15k to Unison, because it specifically says on there battle card or leader card. But that is the entire deck. This is my 50 card list for Red Beerus. I'm gonna enjoy having fun with playing in this format, and because as you know, I love this deck, love this leader. I've been playing it since it came out, but then slowly switched to everything as it got power crept out. But I've always kept pieced together to play again, just for fun. And I feel like it could be alright in this format as a good option, a good red option anyway. That's it. Thank you for watching. Don't feel free to like, comment, subscribe to let me know if you like if you like the video with a like. Also, if you want to let me know if I've said anything wrong or coded anything wrong in this, or you want to see something done on my channel, then leaving a comment is the best way to do so. And also, subscribing will help the channel out greatly, and also keep you updated with my videos as and if and when they drop. And lastly, before we end the video, once again, like I should have done before, like I normally do, shout out to DBS Deck Planet for being the best deck builder in Dragon Ball Super, like with a great team working on it, always updating it, keeping it updated with the new cards, always trying to improve it, and giving us just the best, fantastic deck builder to build our decks, so we can strategize, theorize, and even important to untap the test. So once again, thank you for watching, and see you all in the next video. Bye for now.